Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. So our topic for today is implicit differentiation. So now we are in the week 8 of basic calculus. Okay, so here are the objectives. At the end of the learning episode, the students are expected to perform implicit differentiation including logarithmic and trigonometric functions and solve problems involving implicit differentiation. Okay, so here are the steps on how to perform implicit differentiation. So, first, we're going to differentiate both sides of the equation with respect to x. So, ang gagawin natin is magdi-differentiate tayo ng bawat term sa both sides. Okay? Yan ang ibig kong sabihin. Then, second step is we're going to collect all terms involving dy over dx at the left side of the equation and move all other terms to the right side of the equation. So, ibig sabihin po, pagsasama-samahin natin ang mga dy over dx sa left side na to, tapos, ipagsasama-sama natin mga terms na walang dy over dx sa right side mismo. Then, sa left side, di ba, napapansin mo, di ba, may mga lahat dy over dx. So, you're going to factor dy over dx out of the left side of the equation. So, you're going to treat dy over dx as the common factor. Then, next is we're going to solve for dy over dx. So, hahanapin natin si dy over dx. Okay, so here are the examples. So we're going to find dy over dx given that 4x squared plus 9x minus 3y squared plus 5y equals 2. So what are we going to do is we're going to find dy over dx. So applying the steps, okay. So what are we going to do is we're going to differentiate both sides, every term na both sides. So we're going to place them inside the parentheses tapos yung apostrophe like na prime sa labas. Okay? So, ano yung differentiated ng 4x squared? So, it will be 8x. Bakit 8x? Kasi in respect to x. So, ang gagamitin na natin ay power rule. Okay, so, bale, 2 times 4 will be 8. Tapos 2 minus 1 will be what? Kaya 8x lang siya. Plus, since exponent niya ay 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So, mawawala na tong x. So, magiging 9 na siya. Kaya lang, di ba si 3y squared, di ba, hindi natin siya talaga ma-differentiate, pero mapipilitan natin siya ma-differentiate. So, ang mangyayari, we're going to use the same rule dyan. So, yung exponent na ito ay 2 times 3, tapos yung y, 2 minus 1. Ang mangyayari dyan, maglalagay na tayo ng dy over dx. Kasi, yan dy over dx, yun po ibig sabihin ng y prime, ha? Tapos, ganun din ang gagawin natin dito sa 5. So, 1 times 5, then y, then 1 minus 1. Tapos, yung si 2 naman, pag i-differentiate natin ay magiging 0 dahil constant siya. So, okay. So, to, to be fair on this, so, pag sinabing 4x squared, pag na-differentiate po siya, magiging 2 times 4, then x, then 2 minus 1. So, magiging 8x na siya. Yun sa 9x naman po, pag na-differentiate po natin ay magiging 1 times 9 tapos x, then 1 minus 1. So, magiging 9x to the 0 siya. So, magiging 9 siya kasi ito kasi ay 1. Bale, 9 times 1 kumbaga. Okay? So, isi-simplify na natin all together. Pero, isusulat pala natin yung dy over dx, ha? So, bale, magiging plus 5 dy over dx. Kasi, dito kasi, 1 times 5 is 5, then 1 minus 1 as exponent, so magiging 0 as dy over dx. Kaya naging 5 lang siya kasi yung y to the 0 natin ay 1. So, equals to 0. So, ngayon, ipagsasama na natin yung dy over dx. So, negative 6y dy over dx, tapos plus 5 dy over dx. Ngayon, ililipat na natin yung mga walang dy at dx over dx sa kabila. So, itatranspose na natin. So, magiging negative 8x minus 9. Okay, so, applying the third step, dy over dx times negative 6y plus 5 equals negative 8x minus 9. So, ang gagawin natin is divide both sides by negative 6y plus 5 para makahanap na natin si dy over dx. So, ito po yung ikakalabas na natin. So, this is the dy over dx of the given equation. Okay, so next step is we're going to find dy over dx given that 2x squared plus 5xy minus 3y squared equals y minus 4x. Bakit kailangan tayo mag-implicit differentiation? Kasi kung magdi-differentiate tayo ng function, usually in respect to the independent variable namely x. Kaya lang, may mga functions o equations talaga na magkatabi si xy. May mga y cubed, y squared. So, mapipilitan din tayo mag-differentiate ng independent at dependent variable dito, namely x and y. So, yun yung purpose ng implicit differentiation. Okay, so, what are we going to do is, do the same step. Sige, yx, pareho lang naman yun sa xy. Okay, so keep in mind that y prime is equal to dy over dx. So, ang mangyayari dito, so mag-step by step ulit ako. Okay? So, dito naman po ay magdi-differentiate po tayo sa 2 times 2x then 2 minus 1 plus dito naman since product siya ng y and x, we're going to use the product rule. Okay? So, ipag-iwalay ko sila kasi si 5yx ay product ng 5y at saka x. Okay, so dito naman po, i-differentiate na natin to. Okay, so isi-simplify natin. So, yung y prime na yan ay dy over dx times x plus dito naman po, pag sinabing x prime, automatically 1 na siya. Kaya 5y times 1 is 5y. Tapos dito naman po ay magiging 2 times 3 then y raised to the power of 2 minus 1 times dy over dx. Tapos dy over dx minus 4x. 4 lang siya. Okay. So, yung differentiated na 4x ay 4. Then, ngayon, magsisimplify na tayo. So, magiging 4x plus 5x dy over dx plus 5y then minus 6 dy over dx equals dy over dx minus 4. So ngayon, ang gagawin natin is ipagsasama na natin ang mga dy over dx. So, ililipat na natin si dy over dx from the right side to the left side. So, magiging minus dy over dx equals, so ililipat na natin yung mga walang dy over dx sa right side. So, yung positive 4x na to ay magiging minus 4x. Tapos yung plus 5y ay magiging minus 5y. I-retain na natin si minus 4 sa right side. Dahil nasa right side siya originally. Ngayon, magpa-factorize po tayo. Next step na dito. Okay, so, given the fact that dy over dx is a common factor, so, ang matitira dyan sa loob ay 5x minus 6y minus 1 equals negative 4x minus 5y minus 4. So, finding the dy over dx, okay, so ililipat na natin to sa denominator. Tapos, sa right side naman ay magiging numerator. So, pag ganito ang sistema nito, yung right side na po, yun yung numerator niya. Samantalang, ang factor ng yung cofactor ng dy over dx, yun yung magiging denominator. So, dividing both sides by 5x minus 6y minus 1. Okay? So, ibabox ko na to para hindi kayo malito. Okay? So, dito naman po. So, this time, trigonometric function or trigonometric equation tayo. So, first of all, okay, so we're going to differentiate sine x plus cosine y. Tapos, i-differentiate na natin si 1. So, anong differentiated ng sine x? Okay. So, pag sinabing differentiated ng sine x ay magiging cosine x siya. So, sulatin na natin for more additional trivia. Tapos, i-differentiate na natin si cosine y. So, ano mangyayari sa cosine y pag na-differentiate? Pero i-recall na natin muna yung differentiated ng cosine x. So, pag sinabi yung differentiated ng cosine x, magiging negative sine x siya. Kaya lang dito kasi, y yung variable natin. So, applying the same concept, so magiging negative sine y siya. Tapos, ilalagay na natin yung differentiated form ng y, which is dy over dx. So, yung differentiated ng 1 ay magiging 0 dahil constant siya. Pag sinabing constant, number lang po siya. Okay, so what are we going to do is multiply the signs. So, it will be cosine x minus sine y times dy over dx equals 0. So, what are we going to do here is, we're going to retain those who are stricken with dy over dx. Then, what are we going to do sa mga walang dy over dx? Siyempre, ililipat natin sa kabila. Yung cosine x sa left side, pag nilipat siya sa right side, it will be negative. So, change sign. Okay. So, to find the dy over dx, okay, keep in mind that this will be the numerator, the right side ay magiging numerator. Tapos, dito naman po, so, okay, so, imbis na x, I should write y. Okay, so, erase. So, y pala ito. So, bale, yung negative sine y pala ay nasa denominator. So, bale, since both are negative, so cancel. So, the final answer is cosine x over sine y. Okay, so this is the final answer for this equation. Okay, so here, dito naman may exponential function naman or may logarithmic function siya. Kaya lang dito kasi, okay, so mag-recall muna tayo dito. Pag nag-differentiate tayo ng e to the x, ay magiging e to the x pa rin siya. Pag mag-differentiate po tayo ng ln x, ay magiging 1 over x siya. Okay, so differentiating both sides. Okay, so what is the differentiated of e to the x? Okay, so what is the differentiated of L and Y? So, dito naman sa e to the x, okay, so given these terms, it will become e to the x. Tapos, since kanina, yung y prime natin is dy over dx, so magiging 5 dy over dx siya. Tapos, ito naman, i-differentiate natin using the same concept about the ln x along with its differentiated form ay magiging 1 over y siya times dy over dx. Okay? So, dito naman po, ang gagawin natin is, ipagsasama na natin ang mga dy over dx. Kaya bakit natin ginawang negative si 1 over y dy over dx? Kasi nilipat siya sa kabilang side. At positive siya nung sa right side siya. Tapos yung e to the x natin, since positive siya sa left side, magiging negative na siya dahil nilipat na siya sa right side. Okay, so the common factor is dy over dx times negative 5 minus 1 over y. Then, negative e to the x. So, gusto natin i-simplify, di ba? Sige lang. I will take the challenge. So, i-multiply na natin si negative 5 sa y para maging numerator siya. Tapos yung y natin ay yon sa denominator natin. Okay, so simplifying. So dividing both sides by negative 5y minus 1 over y. So magiging negative to the x times y, negative 5y minus 1. Okay, so ang mangyayari, negative y e to the x kasi minultiply si y sa negative e to the x. Tapos, negative 5y minus 1. Okay, so bale, the final answer is dy over dx equals negative 1 e to the x, then negative 5y minus 1. So, ito na po ang sagot natin dito. Okay? So, now we're going to apply this differentiation with the word problem. So, find an equation of the tangent to the circle x squared plus 4x plus y squared plus 10y equals 45. So, what are we going to do here is to apply the concept of the implicit differentiation. So, we know what to do already here. So, pag sinabing x squared, pag na-differentiate siya, magiging 2x. Tapos, pag na-differentiate si 4x, ay magiging 4 siya. Tapos, si y squared naman ay magiging 2y, then dy over dx. Tapos, si 10y naman ay si 10 dy over dx. Keep in mind that y squared is equal to dy over dx. Ulitin na lang natin yung si bakit naging 2y dy over dx siya. Kasi pag na-differentiate siya si y squared, Okay, so magiging 2 kasi yung exponent ay 2. Tapos, ika-copy na natin yung si y kasi exponent naman niya ay si 2. So, exponent niya ay magiging 1. Kaya lang, syempre, lagi naman kasi in respect of x ito. Kaya kailangan natin isama yung dy over dx equals 0 yung si 45 kasi constant siya. So, ang gagawin natin, ipagsasama na natin yung si dy over dx sa left side. Okay? Tapos yung 2x plus 4, ililipat natin sa kabila. Dahil ililipat natin sa kabila, mababago yung sign sila. Okay? Then, our dy over dx times 2y plus 10 equals negative 2x minus 4. So, bale, ang gagawin na natin is dy over dx equals negative 2x minus 4 then 2y plus 10. So, now we're going to use this pair of coordinates yung kung saan dumaan ang point na to. Okay, so since our x is 5, so negative 2 times 5 minus 4. Tapos yung y natin is 0, so 2 times 0 plus 10. Okay, so negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, then minus 4. Then 2 times 0 is 0 plus 10 siya. Tapos negative 10 minus 4 is negative 14 over 10. So simplifying it to its lowest term, it will be negative 7 over 5. So that is the slope of this tangent. So, ito po ang slope. Yan dy over dx kasi yun yung rate of change natin. So, we can label it as a slope when we're going to find the tangent. Kasi yung tangent kasi, linear equation siya. So, using this formula, the slope-intercept form, so, assume na natin yan si 5 na ay si x sub 0, tapos si 0 naman ay si y sub 0. So, substituting this, so yung y sub 0 natin is 0, tapos yung m natin is negative 7 over 5, tapos yung x natin is x, then our x sub 0 is 5. Okay. So now, we're going to simplify. So, y sub 0 is y. Tapos, magdi-distributive tayo. So, negative 7 over 5x plus 7. Kasi, negative 7 over 5 times negative 5 is 7. Kasi nakakancel si 5.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. So our topic for this week is related rates. So at the end of the learning episode, students are expected to solve situational problems involving related rates. Related rates is the study of how two or more quantities that change with time are connected and can be linked with an equation in which the relation of their rates of change may be found by differentiating both sides of the equation. So here are the steps. So first, we're going to read and understand the problem. Second is we're going to make a carefully labeled diagram. Third is we're going to write down and label constants, variables, rates, and what is being sought. Fourth, we're going to write a function that relates with the variables. Fifth is we're going to differentiate all terms in relation to time, t, or shall I say in respect to time, t, then we're going to substitute known quantities. Okay, so a stone dropped in a pond sends out a circular ripple whose radius increases at a constant rate of 5 feet per second. After 10 seconds, how rapidly is the area enclosed by the ripple increasing? So first, we're going to draw the carefully labeled diagram. Okay, so this is the circle, and here's the center along with its radius. Okay, so what are we going to do next is we're going to state the given quantities. So, our time is 10 seconds. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to state the rate, which is dr over dt. Why dr over dt? Because it is based on the change of the radius. So the radius increases at a constant rate of 5 feet per second is dr over dt. Okay, so our dr over dt is 5 feet per second. So based on the problem, our radius is not yet given. So in order to look for the radius, what are we going to do is to multiply the rate according to the change of the radius with the time. So we're going to cancel the second kasi ang distance ng radius natin is feet. So 5 times 10 is equal to 50 feet. So our radius is 50 feet. Okay, so going back to this problem, okay, so yung 10 seconds na yan, which is t. Okay, so how rapidly is the area enclosed by the ripple increasing? So yung rate na yon ay dA over dt. But the question is, do we know the value of dA over dt? Syempre, hindi pa. That's why we're going to write a question mark. Okay, since the figure is the circle, so we can state the area of the circle. Okay, next we're going to differentiate both sides in respect of t. Okay, so what are we going to do is, our radius is 50. So we're going to substitute the known quantities. So our dr over dt is 5 feet per second. Okay, so 2 times 50 is 100 times 5 is 500 pi feet squared over second. So it means to say that the rate of change is 500 pi feet squared over second. So based on the problem, okay, so the area enclosed by the ripple increasing is rapid at the rate of 500 pi feet squared per second. Okay, so that is our dA over dt. So our second problem is a 25-foot ladder rests against a vertical wall. If the bottom of the ladder is sliding away from the base of the wall at the rate of 30 feet per second, how fast is the top of the ladder moving down the wall when the bottom of the ladder is 7 feet from the base? So we're going to draw the problem. So here is the ladder, which is 25 feet. Then the bottom of the ladder from the base is 7 feet. So we do not know the distance between the top of the ladder from the bottom. So yung y ang hindi natin alam. So what are we going to do is to solve using the Pythagorean theorem. So yung hypotenuse natin is 25 feet. Okay, so we're going to substitute based on this figure. So our x is 7 feet squared plus y squared, then 25 feet squared. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to find the square of each value. So it will become 49 feet squared plus y squared equals 625 feet squared. So what are we going to do here is we're going to solve for y squared So 625 minus 49 is 576 feet squared. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to solve for y by squaring out or finding the square root of both sides. So it become y, then 24 feet. So our y is 24 feet. So now we're going to go back to this formula for the sake of differentiation. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to state also the given. So now we have x and y. Then here, if the bottom of the ladder is sliding away from the base of the wall at a rate of 3 feet per second, so ito yung x natin, ito yung y na natin. So it means to say, ang dx over dt natin is 3 feet per second. Okay, so since the bottom of the ladder is sliding away from the base of the wall, so ang magbabago yung x. So our x changes. Okay, so based on the problem, we can mention that our dx over dt is 3 feet per second. Then, how fast is the top of the ladder moving down the wall when the bottom of the ladder is 7 feet from the base? So, bale, pag nag-move yung top of the ladder, we can say that it is dy over dt. Ang hinahanap na natin is dy over dt. Kasi pag sinabing dy over dt, it determines the change of the rate yun sa top of the ladder mismo. Yung top of the ladder kasi, pag nag-move down siya, so kailangan na natin ma-determine yung rate of change ng y natin. So, yung y kasi, yun yung pader. Yung x na yan, yan yung sahig. Okay, so now we're going to differentiate both sides according in respect of time. So, 2x dx over dt plus 2y dy over dt equals 0. Okay, so we're going to substitute the known quantities. So 2 times 7 feet times 3 feet per second plus 2 times 24 feet times dy over dt equals 0. So now we're going to multiply 2 with 7 feet with 3 feet per second. So 2 times 7 is 14 times 3 is 42 feet squared over second plus 2 times 24 is 48 feet then times dy over dx equals 0. So what are we going to do next is we are going to solve for dy over dx. So tinranspose na natin yung 42 feet squared over second sa kanan kaya naging negative po siya. Okay, so now what are we going to do next is we're going to solve for dy over dx by dividing both sides by 48 feet. Okay. So, ngayon, magsisimplify na tayo ng lowest term. So, dy over dt pala ito. Sorry. So, it's not dy. Sanay kasi ako sa dy over dx. Kaya, dy over dt ito. Okay. So, imbis na dx sa baba, magiging dt na siya. Okay, so dito, so negative 42 over 48 is negative 7 over 8. Pag sinabing feet squared over feet, magiging feet na siya over second. So, ito na po yung rate na natin. Ito na po yung sagot na natin. Ito na yung dy over dt natin. So, we can conclude that the top of the ladder moves down the wall when the bottom of the ladder is 7 feet from the base at the rate of negative 7/8 feet over second. So, bale, nagdi-decrease siya kasi negative siya. So, pag nagsaslide kasi ang ladder, lalaki yan si X. Hahaba si X, pero iikli si Y kasi pabagsak nga si ladder. Okay? So, our third problem is water runs into a conical tank at the rate of 10 feet cube per minute. The tank stands point down and is 24 feet deep and 16 feet across. So, how fast is the water level rising when the water is 12 feet deep? So, dito po, magdodraw po tayo ng representation ng isang cone. Yung conical tank na yan ay cone talaga. So, dito po, we can tell that the height, pag sinabing height, deep eh. Deep is height eh. So, our height is 24 feet. Then, our radius is, since across siya, pag sinabing across, diameter siya. Pero ang hanapin na natin is radius. So, our diameter is 16 feet. Pero ipag dinivide na natin sa 2, yung radius natin ay magiging 8 feet. Okay. So, dito po, we can write it here, 8 feet. Tapos, dito naman po ay 24 feet. Okay. So, magre-refill po ako ng water dito. So, ito yung R, tapos ito yung H. Okay. So, dito po, similar triangles na yung concept natin. So, we're going to solve it with using the concepts of ratio and proportion. So, ito yung H over R natin. So, ito yung height and radius of an unknown triangle. Tapos, dito naman, yun sa known triangle natin is 24/8. So, dito po, ang gagawin natin is, magko-cross multiply po tayo. Okay? So, what are we going to do is we're going to look for the radius. Okay? Kasi ang tinatanong is how fast is the water level rising when the water is 12 feet deep. So, ang hahanapin na natin is dH over dt. So, pag sinabing water level, masasabi na natin height siya. Tapos, pag sinabing feet cube, may idea na tayo. So, volume na to. So, we can say na dV over dt na to. Okay. So, dividing both sides by 24, so 8h over 24, then simplifying to lowest term, magiging 1/3 h na siya. Okay, so we can mention the volume of the cone. So 1/3 pi r squared then h. So substituting po, what are we going to do is we're going to substitute the given radius, which is 1/3 h. Okay, so we're going to simplify po. Is 1/3 squared is equal to 1/9 plus h squared then h. So, 1/3 times 1/9 is 1/27 pi then h cubed. So, this is now the volume in respect of the height. So, now what are we going to do is we're going to differentiate dv over dt, then it will become 3/27 by h squared. So now we're going to simplify it into lowest term. So magiging 1/9 pi h squared times dh over dt. Okay? So we're now differentiating both sides according to in respect to time. Okay, so now we have what is given right now. So what is being asked is yung h na to is 12 feet Tapos yung dV over dt is 10 feet cube over minute. Okay, so now magsa-substitute po na tayo. So 10 feet cube over minute equals 1 over 9 pi, then 12 feet squared, then dh over dt. So what are we going to do is, we're going to simplify according to PEMDAS rule. Okay, pag sinabing 12 feet, then squared, magiging 144 feet squared siya. Tapos, over 9, then pi, then dh over dt. So, what are we going to do is we're going to divide 144 with 9. So, the answer is 16. So, 10 feet cube over minute equals 16 pi feet squared dh over dt. So what are we going to do next is we're going to solve for dh over dt by dividing both sides by 16 pi feet squared. Okay, so simplifying to lowest term, so 10 over 16 will become 5 over 8. Then, since yung pi ay nasa ilalim, ikakopy na natin si pi, then feet over minute. So, we can say that our dh over dt is 5 over 8 pi feet. Okay, so we can say that our dh over dt is 5 over 8 pi feet per minute. So we can say that the water level rises at the rate of 5 over 8 pi feet per minute. Okay, so the fourth problem states that a man 6 feet tall walks at the rate of 4.5 feet per second away from a street light that is 16 feet above the ground. At what rate is his shadow lengthening? At what rate is the tip of his shadow moving? So first we're going to draw a diagram representing this problem. So the street light's height is 16 feet, while the man's height is 6 feet. Okay, so here is the x, which is between the man and the street light, and the y measures between the tip of the shadow and the man. Okay, so we're going to solve using the concept of similar triangles. So this is for the larger triangle, while this is for the smaller triangle. So now we're going to cross multiply. Okay. So magko-cross multiply po tayo. Okay. So what are we going to do next is we're going to multiply using distributive method here. So 6 times x is 6x, then 6 times y is 6y. So now, what are we going to do is we're going to combine like terms by transposing 6y to the left side. So magiging negative 6y na siya. Then, we're going to retain 6x at the right side. So what are we going to do is we're going to simplify until we differentiate it. So differentiating both sides, so it will become 10 dy over dt. Since we are differentiating in respect of time, then our x will be dx over dt. Okay, so going back to the problem, okay, so 4.5 feet per second is the rate wherein a man walks away from a street light. So bale, yung shadow na wino-walk niya from a street light. So, yung distance mismo
Yun yung nagre-represent ng x. Okay, so bali ang rate nito ay dx over dt. Okay, so ibig sabihin po, ang dx over dt natin is 4.5 feet per second siya. So what are we going to do here is we're going to substitute the given quantities. So yung dx over dt niya is 4.5 feet per second. So now, what are we going to do is we're going to multiply, which will be 27 feet per second. Then we're going to divide both sides by 10. Okay. So 27 divided by 10 will be 2.7 feet per second. So, bale, ito po yung dy over dt natin. So, ibig sabihin, the shadow lengthens at 2.7 feet over second. Okay, so at what rate is the tip of this shadow moving? So, bale, ang gagawin natin is we're going to add dx over dt with dy over dt. So, yung dx over dt natin is 4.5 feet per second plus yung dy over dt natin is 2.7 feet per second. So, adding both, so it will become 7.2 feet per second. So, ibig sabihin po nun, so ito yung rate kung saan nag-move yung tip ng kanyang shadow. Yan, 7.2 na yan. So, going back, okay. So, we're going to copy this. We're going to transfer this. So, ito po yung 2.7 feet per second. Tapos dito naman po ay 4.5 feet per second. So, pag i-add to, so, ibig sabihin po, pag in-add siya, magiging 7.2 feet per second. So, ito po yung rate kung saan nagmo-move yung tip ng kanyang shadow. So, ito po yung tip ng kanyang shadow mismo. Ito po yung tip ng kanyang shadow. Okay? So, therefore, the rate lengthens at 2.7 feet per second pagdating sa kanyang shadow. Pero pagdating sa tip of his shadow, it moves at 7.2 feet per second. Okay? So,